The oracles of real estate and law. The grand poobahs of Metro Detroit are here to help you with your questions on short sales and bankruptcies, from A to Z and from Lake St. Clair to Lansing, leaving no stone unturned to help you find your way through the dark and into the light. Live on the radio now, Jimmy Moss and Paul Gigliotti.
Hey, welcome to the Oracles of Radio. Every Sunday from 2 to 3. We love it. We love it. We're talking about real estate, short sales, selling houses, buying houses, anything to do with law, bankruptcies, Chapter 7s, 13s. So if you got questions for Mr. Paul Gigliotti, the attorney on hand, that's great. And any questions for us with regards to the real estate side of it, we'll give a stab at it. So, to call in for the show, obviously, if you're driving around and you have some questions for us, the number is 800-923-9385. And I'll say that again, 800-923-9385. We're talking real estate. We're talking law. And, just going over some of the, the things that are going on out there in the world this week. A pretty a week full of scandals and all that kind of going on stuff. But, hey, Paul, if you want to segue into that or just give a shout-out and see what's going on with you, buddy. How you feeling, man?
Feeling good. Despite the things you see on the news, I'd like to look at the positives at least for a minute. The weather's finally coming around. The Red Wings won.
Yeah.
Things are looking good.
Yeah, you can say that more than once, the Red Wings won. He did a great job, man. It was stellar,
Yeah, glad to see them getting back in the groove of things. Game 1, it was pretty hard to watch, but Game 2, this is what they can do, and hopefully they keep coming back and playing the way they're playing. Yeah,
when I saw them play, Chicago throughout this, the season here, the short season, I thought about it. They're right in there. They lost 3 times, I think, in either shootouts or overtime. I mean, it's so close. And at this point in time, I know they can play with these cats, and they got the young guys out there that are just gunning for it. You can just see it in there. Bruner, he's in it to win it. So, kind of like Yzerman, and boy, every time I say that name, I always think, man, what a guy that gave everything to win, and we love Yzerman, obviously. Somebody said he was up for the draft again. Is that what you're saying, Paul?
Yeah, we could only wish.
Yeah, no kidding. But hey, just a couple things out there, Paul. I mean, when you guys are out there driving around and you listen to the show, obviously give us a call, 800-923-9385. We're the Oracles of Radio. You can visit our website at oraclesofradio.com. And if you can't catch us on the phone by giving us a call during the show, then go ahead and email us. And the questions, the email address is questions@oraclesofradio.com. Once again, questions@oraclesofradio.com. But, with that said, what do you think about all these scandals that are going on, buddy?
I know you're just dying to get into it, especially the IRS situation that's going on. So Go ahead and tell the listeners your thoughts on this.
Well, I mean, my thoughts are, I think pretty much so many stations and other shows and throughout the week are talking about it. But, I look at it in a little different light. I think politics and economics have to mirror our spirituality, or else they mock it. So the U.S., we need to change, and the only issue is whether we're going to change with the growth of wisdom, or because the pain of not changing because it becomes so much that we really don't have a choice, that the country has to change. And I think with these scandals with the IRS and Benghazi and the AP News, and it ruins everybody's day listening to this kind of stuff. And it's also tough on businesses throughout the U.S., that are getting audited or having issues with the IRS. So, there's nothing, astute about, financially or economically doing whatever you want to do and thinking that it's not going to harm somebody, because it is. So, my thoughts is such thinking like that needs to be reputed at this time. We need to transcend that mundanity of limited thinking and kind of change our world, lay claim to a different way of doing things. What's your thoughts?
Well, I've always thought about this, and it's funny, people always ask me, you Democrat or Republican? And, I always tell people I'm independent, and the way I always describe things is if you're looking at our society on a line graph where you have the liberals on the left and the conservatives on the far right, people tend to gravitate toward one end or another. If you look at that middle group that's in between, that middle group, I would say, outnumbers that little group on the right and the little group on the left.
Yeah.
But people always want to gravitate toward one end. And I can remember somebody that used to work in our building. She was as liberal as they came, but her thing was right to bear arms.
Yeah.
So that made her Republican. Everything was Republican. And I would always chuckle and say, you realize 99% of what you believe in is not Republican, you know? And she'd say, well, that's too bad. It is what it is. And even on the other end of the spectrum, I run into people who are squeaky clean, but they said, my dad was in the union and told me from day one I better vote Democrat. So they voted Democrat their whole life. And so I agree with you. People really need to stick to their guns. And you didn't say this on the air yet, but I know we've talked about it. People need to get involved. Yeah. And it's really about the big picture. And, to use your phrase, we really need that moral compass, and people need to follow it.
Yeah, we got a caller coming up, Louis. I'm going to get to you in just a second. But, I look at it like this. There's a lot of anger out there. There's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of hatred that I see in politics. And that stuff runs deep. And, it has a lot of power, those kind of emotions and those kind of thought patterns. But they don't have the spiritual power, and they don't have God behind them. And at the end, they're going to fall like a house of cards. So you start to see through some of these things and some of these people that are in power. And when I say it, people in power stick together, and that's what you're starting to see this unfold. And they try to stick it to you, and we see that through a dirty window of a Dodge, man. The whole thing is clear. People, you got to get involved out there in what's going on if you want things to change. And you got to get involved if you want a good attorney, obviously, because Paul's got he's got a lot of knowledge. He knows what he's doing. If you need a good real estate agent, obviously, I try to bring all that to the table as well. And let me grab this call real quick with Louis, and we'll see what you have to say. Hello, you there, Louis?
Yes, this is Louis, and I'm retired. And I live in Grosse Pointe in a big house.
Hey, Louis, that's retired. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's just that I got this big house, and it's too much to take care of and do, and I'm looking for a smaller place. So either a house or a condo, and I don't know which way to go on it. And
Yeah. We talked about this last week. I don't know if you caught the show. We talk about a lot of people that are downsizing, and with retiring, it's something that you want to probably spend more time with the kids and the grandkids that you might want cutting grass and fixing the house. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, I don't want to cut the grass, and I don't want to do a lot of work on a house. I want some place where I can live and have some time with my grandchildren. Right.
And,
I just don't know which way to go.
So, well, the thing of it is that if your house is upside down, great. You might have to do, I wouldn't say a short sale if you can write it out, obviously. But if your house is upside down, we can look at that, comp it out, see where we're at. If not, just, be able to sell that property. We can do that. We can list it. We can sell it. We can go through the process and looking, ahead of time, kind of searching out there, finding a place that's, good for you, the right size for you. Go ahead, Paul. You had something you want to say?
Yeah, Louis, one of the things you want to look at when deciding on a condo, I mean, we talked about cutting the grass and so forth, but one thing that people overlook is the condominium association dues. Yeah. So sometimes when you're looking at your price per month, you're going to calculate out your mortgage and your taxes and property taxes and insurance, and you're going to say to yourself, okay, this is going to be my payment, but it really isn't. You need to factor in those condominium association dues. And in this kind of a time that we're in with low interest rates and so forth, sometimes you can get a much, much lower payment by not being in a condominium. But, they're all different. Some have low association dues. Some are a lot per month. It's just you got to be careful when you're looking. Go ahead.
Yeah, Louis.
That's
good.
That's true.
Yeah, those are factors to think about, And Louis, when we're out, I'll help you out with it. I'll get your information. I'll have Kurt take your name and number down, and what we'll do is we'll just sit down, knee to knee, toe to toe, head to head, and figure out what the best strategy is for you and what works for you. And by the time we sit down for a good 45 minutes to an hour, we'll have a nice a plan laid out. And if it takes a little longer, then it takes 2 hours or 2 days or whatever. Don't worry. Just we'll get it worked out. We'll make sure that the move and buying and selling another house is going to be the right move for you. So we appreciate the call, buddy, and we're going to jump over to Elliot, and I will once again leave your number for Kurt. He'll take care of you. All right?
Thank you, Jim.
You got it. Thanks, buddy.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.
Hey, what's up, Elliot?
Hey, how are you, Jimmy?
I'm good. All the listeners out there, we have Elliot Eisenberg on the phone from Graphs and Laughs. And Elliot, we enjoy your phone calls every week. I know you bring a lot to the show with regards to your economic overviews and thoughts and so on and so forth. And Paul and I were talking. Everything was all over the map this week with regards to housing up and down. There was just so many economic ups and downs. I mean, what's your thoughts on the mixing up the medicine and what's going on out there, buddy?
I mean, it was pretty crazy. We had starts going down, we had permits going up, we had inflation, non-existent consumer sentiment up, leading economic indicators up, but industrial production was down, and it was really all over the place. I think what it means is the economy is sort of going at this steady, grudging pace. There's no news that was really good news. There was no news collectively that was really bad news. It was just some good, some bad, half step forward, half a step back, maybe 3/4 of a step forward, half a step back. But it was a little better. The Federal Reserve is not going to stop buying $85 billion a month. Interest rates are going to stay low. I think that's the takeaway message. There was nothing this week that made anybody get excited one way or the other.
Yeah, I know a lot of people out there are trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, in today's market with making a living. And I did think, I did hear, that the Feds are going to continue to buy Treasury bonds and hold those. So that's obviously true to form with you saying that the interest rates are going to stay, historically low. And, that in itself, buying a house, I mean, when you're out there looking at buying a house, it's a stellar time in the sense that if that interest rate goes up to 6% versus 3.5 right now, or wherever you get, depending upon the stock market, it deviates maybe a quarter point here and there. But your buying power has just diminished when you're out there bargaining for a house for $200,000, and you're thinking, I can't go to 210. Well, if the interest rates go up, then that house is going to be 250 by the time you pay it off, or your monthly payment is going to go up much more than trying to negotiate a few thousand. So with the rates being historically low, I think it's a good opportunity when you're looking at buying.
Right, and those people who are saying, oh my gosh, we're having a housing bubble and house prices are dramatically increasing, and Detroit's certainly one of those cities that's seeing really robust economic price increase on houses, they're still remarkably affordable. They've come down dramatically from where they were at the peak.
Sure.
So if they go up by a few percentage points, we shouldn't start going, oh my gosh, I'll ride it out and wait for a dip and buy a house on the dip. I mean, that's not a great strategy with interest rates being where they are. You're exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I look at some of the stuff that's, let me back it up a second. With working in Vegas for so long, I mean, we had a law that was indigenous to Nevada, which is the AB 284 law, which completely dried up the housing market. And buying a house out there I think we got about a week's supply of houses on the market. There's just nothing out there. So, I mean, people in Michigan are saying, what does it take to get a home? It takes really a good real estate agent. It takes someone that's got the tenacity and some of the know-how to navigate the barracudas in a market like this. But, with outside the real estate scope of it, I mean, what's your thoughts on the overview of of the job market in the industrial side of it? Because, Michigan obviously is a big union state. There's a lot of industrial jobs out here. And how are we doing economically, the U.S. versus other?
I think the key thing looking there is automobile sales, unit sales. And unit sales are flattening out. They're just a hair above 15 million, a hair below 15 million. They shot up from 9 million at the bottom in the early 2009 at the pit of the recession.
Yeah.
They've come up nicely, but they seem to have tapped out now. So it looks like we're not going to get any more mojo for the overall economy growth-wise from automobile sales. Maybe it'll pick up later on in summer or something, but that's not going to be happening right now. So that's a bit of a fly in the – I mean, there are these flies all over the place. But overall, it's okay. I mean, we're going to get 160,000 jobs a month probably going forward, and it's enough to keep the job market, keep the housing market happy, and keep people employed and so on. But housing now is the healthiest sector and the healthiest, fastest growing sector of the economy. Autos are healthy, but they're not growing much. They had a 4-year run from middle of 2009 through now, early 2013. They've had a great run. Yeah,
sure. So I shouldn't run up to the hills with an AK-47 and a can of beans, as Dennis Miller would say, to get through this economic, I should say, sluggish times, huh?
I think things will get better better in 14, although economists have been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
So, take it with a grain of salt. But right now we've got some contractionary fiscal policy coming on with, sequester and people being laid off. I have a friend of mine in Chicago who works for HUD. He's losing 8 days between now and September 30th. That's a lot of money, 8 days of work.
Yeah.
So, this is cumulatively going to be felt. But hopefully come October 1st, new fiscal year, we clean up some of this mess and some of this stuff goes away, and we can gain half a point of GDP and maybe get by the end of the year to 2.5%. That's my hope. Go from 2 now to 2.5 by the end of the year.
We love you.
A big increase.
We know, we love you coming on, and we try to catch up during the week on some of the going-ons, and it's always, you always crack me up. I just wanted to say, hey, once you plug your company, tell everybody out there who you are, how they can get a hold of you, and we got to jump out of here. So go ahead, take the floor.
Thank you very much. So my name's Elliot Eisenberg. My company is Graphs and Laughs, and my website is www.graphsandlaughs.net. And you can sign up for my daily 70-word economics blog. Right there is a place that says blog sign up. And you'll get 70 words, no ads, no commercials, no pictures, no links, nothing, just 70 words, all on the economy.
All right,
Jimmy.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, man. Front seat in heaven for you, and we'll catch up with you next week, same time, same place.
Sounds great.
Okay, thanks,
Have a lovely week.
You too. All right, you guys will be right back.
Chairman Ben Bernanke is keeping interest rates low for now, so it's time you take advantage of this opportunity and look into refinancing your current home or purchasing a new one. Parks Title wants to remind you to exercise your right to choose your own title company when refinancing or purchasing your home. Whether you are selling, buying, or refinancing, remember Parks Title is independently owned with offices across Michigan to serve you. Visit parkstitle.com or like us on Facebook to learn more about how Parks Title can serve you.
ACOS the Solutionist here. Overweight? So am I. Have you heard all this TV doctor buzz about Garcinia cambogia? This superfood extract can help suppress your appetite and reduce the risk of overeating. Reduce calorie intake by 25%, inhibit fat production while burning fat, all helping to reduce body weight. Even helps promote normal cholesterol and healthy serotonin levels. Not only that, it's also a great source of calcium. No wonder people are raving about it. We want you to try it. So here's the offer. Instead of paying over $120 online, we'll send you a 1-month supply for $29.99, which is already the best price out there. Then we won't send you a 1-month bottle. We'll send you 3 bottles, triple the offer, still only $29.99. You can't beat $10 a bottle. Call 1-888-877-0490. That's 1-888-877-0490. Or go to mycoolgadgets.com. That's mycoolgadgets.com. What do you have to lose? Oh yeah, your weight.
Moms of America, stand up and stop taking abuse from your kids.
I pledge never to let my kid disrespect me ever again.
I pledge to stop letting my daughter walk all over me.
I pledge to stop living in fear of my son's anger.
I pledge never to feel like a bad parent ever again. Because I'm not.
I pledge to stop letting my child's behavior control my home.
I pledge to be a mom with kids who listen, a total transformation mom.
I'm Janet Lehman, co-creator of the Total Transformation Program. We created the Total Transformation to help parents with difficult child behavior. Now I'm giving it away free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. We'll let you keep it for free.
Call 1-800-596-8358. That's 1-800-596-8358. Call now. That's 1-800-596-8358. That's 1-800-596-8358.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I said listen to.
Hey, welcome back to the Oracles of Radio with Jimmy Moss, real estate agent, with Red Carpet Platinum, and Paul Gigliotti, attorney of law. And Paul, with well, you know what? Let's kind of throw some numbers out there so people know who to call in. The number here is 800-923-9385. That's 1-800-923-9385. And so call in if you have any questions for us, on real estate or law. And at the end of our show, I wouldn't say the exact end, but, in this next segue here that we come into, we're going to do a little program, part of the program that's, I guess, indigenous to our show. And it's called the Local Business Bump to get over the hump. And what does that mean to everybody out there listening that's driving around? It means that if you own a business in the Tri-County area, or if you have an aunt, uncle, brother, and sister that own something, a business that's licensed, then we want you guys to call in and near the end of our show here, and then in turn give an overview of who you are, what you do, and offer something that's indigenous to our show. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. If an ice cream store calls in and they say, "Hey, listen, we're willing to, for the local business bump, give a buy one get one free ice cream, or every 3 cones you buy you get a free banana split," or something like that. Any haircutting place calls in and they want to say we're half off on haircuts this week. So if you're a business that we've spoke to throughout the week and you want to call in, obviously you need to have a password to get for the week. So it could be We Love America or Red, White, and Blue. And anybody that's listening to the show would then in turn go to your store or company and say, we heard about you on the Oracles of Radio, and the password for the week is, Red, White, and Blue, and we're looking to get, the ice cream cone or the discount on the hair place, or, clothing, or whatever you offer, whatever your store or company does. So it's 30 seconds of free airtime for you businesses that are out there that want to call in. So the number here is 800-923-9385. And just call in and kind of give a shout out to who you are, what you do, and what you're willing to offer people in the Tri-County area that you're not offering online or on a in the newspaper per se. So with that said, we'll let that sit for a second and look for some phone calls to come in on that topic. Once again, 800-923-9385. And Paul, I just wanted to kind of throw something at you. In doing law, tell me, how did the cow eat the cabbage when it comes to, separating the men from the boys in practicing law? What's the skinny?
I think we're in an interesting time as far as law goes. When I was in law school in the early 90s, law school enrollments tripled. And there was a statistic out, I don't know how true it was, but there was a statistic out that there was more people in law school than there were practicing lawyers out there. And with that huge flood of attorneys, you've got a lot of competition out there. You've got a lot of people doing a lot of things just to get people in the door. And, in our office, our thing always is, call us, get the information for us. Even if you're not going to use us, that's fine. But at least let us tell you what's going on with your questions so you can make a good informed decision. With technology and the internet, a lot of people think they can just look something up online and, that's going to be the end of it. Or what I'm seeing a lot of is a lot of the younger attorneys out there, they get on these listservs on email and they throw a question out on a listserv and people will answer it. And they go ahead and advise their client based on this random email. And, a lot of older attorneys, and I don't mean really old, but I should say experienced, they really don't like that because, the public isn't really being served well by that. There's always these situations that come up where the answer isn't one size fits all. And the one I always use in as example is, people will call and say, I'm filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, or I want to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Can I keep my home? And, the initial answer is, yeah, you're allowed to have your home if you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, but there's a lot of things that go along with it. If you own $1 million home and you have no mortgage on it, no, you can't file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. They would expect you, or they would sell the house for you, take the money, pay your creditors, and give you the money that's left. So there's a lot to be said for experience. Living through different things, knowing who the judges are, in bankruptcy, knowing who the trustees are. That goes a long way. There's a lot of practical advice that goes along when you're handling somebody's case. And, one of the other things we always say is we're not a bankruptcy arm twister. It's very often where we figure out a way to solve people's financial problems without actually running out and filing a bankruptcy. Sometimes we do settlements, or some people, seniors on Social Security, the creditors really can't touch them. So there's a lot of different options that we at least like to throw out to people, and give them the information so they can make a good decision.
Yeah, you can also visit our website at oraclesofradio.com. Once again, that's oraclesofradio.com. Or you can email any questions into Paul or myself. and at questions@oraclesofradio.com. And with regards to real estate and law, and we will we'll give it our best shot and try to answer what we can and help you out. You know, some of the things that are going out there right now in the real estate market is that it's a seller's market, and when you're working with a buyer, which some of the buyers we're working with now, you know, obviously you're up against a lot of barracudas and trying to get your your offer accepted. So, you know, what are some of the tactics a good agent should use in a market like this? And this market in Michigan is busy. No, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as competitive as it is in Vegas, where I was doing real estate for quite some time. So, you take some of what is actually, on the forefront out there, and you implement those tactics here to try to get your offer accepted. And some of the things that I do is when you're presenting an offer, you want to try to present it through, GoToMeeting. So if your agent is out there and they're working for you, you got to make sure that they have the right tools, or they're thinking outside the box of how to get things done. And, that's going to get you can try to tell a listing agent, listen, I want to present my offer, through GoToMeeting with you, and so the seller then in turn can, see who I am and what's going on. Some of the other things that you try to do is, help with the seller's moving cost. There's ways you can, appropriate that, and those are some of the ways to get the offer. And sometimes you have to write it, sometimes without even viewing the house, unfortunately, because there's so many offers that go in right away, and then make it subject to, to interior inspection once you take a look at it, just to try to get your numbers in, and before it goes off the market or into pending status or C status. Contingent status. So, some of the things out there, agents just have to be real aggressive on the buyer side, and on the seller side, you just have to make sure that, you get the highest price you can get for your house. And in a seller's market, it's not as complicated as, as it is in a buyer's market. But with that said, Paul, I mean, what's your take on the real estate market? And
well, we talked a couple of weeks ago about agents that don't pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. And that's a real pet peeve with me. When I'm driving around, I see a house and I call the number on the sign, and a lot of times I just get a voicemail, or believe it or not, we've actually had an office answer and somebody saying, oh, the agent isn't taking calls for 2 weeks on this house. And so I'm going to put it to you, because I know I call you and you answer the phone in a hockey rink, and there's screaming going on and it's crazy and you can't hear it. And I'll say, I'll call you back, and you're like, oh, no. Let me get to a place where I could hear you, blah, 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 blah. So what's your thoughts on that? If people are driving around and they call the number on the sign, and they have to leave a voicemail or whatever, is that a bad thing? Is it a sign? How should they handle that?
Yeah, with the hockey game, my little one plays for the St. Clair Shores Lakers, and two great coaches there with Rod and Andy. So shout out to those guys, great guys. This is my thoughts. When you have a listing and you have it out there, you want to put a rider underneath it, and that rider has a text number on there. Basically, the person that's driving by, they can in turn text that information into their phone, call that information, and it'll pull up the listing right there on their smartphone, and it'll give them all the information that they need. And then my phone gets dinged saying that, hey, this person was looking at my property, and then I can turn around and call them straight away. So, if you're a listing agent out there, some of these tactics are helpful. So hang in there, guys. We'll be right back with the Oracles of Radio.
Thinking of downsizing? It's a seller's market, and sold signs are popping up all over town. Parks Title wants to remind you, you have a right to choose your own title company if you are selling, buying, or refinancing your home. Parks Title is independently owned with offices across Michigan to serve you. We have more than 25 years experience in clearing title and bringing deals to the closing table quickly and accurately. Talk to your real estate agent today. Visit parkstitle.com or like us on Facebook to learn more about how Parks Title can serve you.
Half Price Heroes, here's the update from theidealdepot.com. It's summer, and that means air conditioning, but don't pay what everyone else pays. Go to The Ideal Depot and get a new Lennox AC unit at your price. That's right, it's currently $3,360. That's 20% off the regular price, and you'll be buying from the best Williams refrigeration. You know the installation will be perfect. Hurry, there's just one. Also, half-price tuition is back at one of the most respected Christian schools in southeastern Michigan, Macomb Christian School. It's an award-winning Christian education with teachers who love God, love teaching, and will love your child. Usually about $6,000 tuition at Macomb Christian, now half price. That's about $3,000 only at The Ideal Depot. As usual, important restrictions apply, so carefully review each offer and be a half-price hero for your family only at theidealdepot.com.
Adriana is a young mother trying desperately to keep her children alive in the remote mountains of Guatemala. She is losing the battle.
My children and I have to walk down a cliff to go to the garbage dump to try to find food that other human beings throw out. We fight like dogs for any food.
Today, you can become the answer to Adriana's prayers for help. Through Food for the Poor, your one-time gift of $133 will allow us to feed her 3 children the protein-rich food they need to survive. They'll eat every day for the next year thanks to you and your gift of just $11 a month. You can keep them from having to dig through trash and fighting with dogs for food to eat. Would you call now and give so her kids can live like human beings instead of like animals?
855-860-4673. That's 855-860-HOPE. Or give online at baytalk1500.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Oracles of Radio with real estate agent Jimmy Moss with Red Carpet Platinum and Paul Gigliotti, attorney here on the show, Paul. And with that said, our number to call in is 800-923-9385. If you have any questions for an attorney or for a real estate agent with regards to this market, short sales, and so on and so forth, I will help you out with those details, as Paul will with any legal questions, bankruptcies, Chapter 7s, 13s, trust, anything like that, family planning. We can for surely answer those questions, and Paul will guide you through that. With regards to some of the things that are out there that have changed in the industry, I guess you'd say on the loan side of stuff, even though I don't want to go into it too deeply, it's just some pretty significant changes we were talking about earlier, huh?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting for the people, because I know when you brought it up to me,
Yeah.
I thought it was a great thing that people should know about. As far as the mortgage modifications that are out there, the popular one was the HAMP, and also the other was the HARP. And you were saying that now there's a new HARP program, or HARP 2 they're calling it?
Well, HARP 2, yeah, they changed some of the guidelines in it. One of the big things to think about, and I didn't know if you saw in the paper, I think it was this week, there's a big headlines, mortgage modifications don't work. Go figure. It's a tough slog to try to get your loan, a mortgage modification done. It truly is. And with regards to, the HARP program, I know that the big change on that is, the new mortgage balance can exceed the 125% of the current home value. So that's a big plus. So if your house is up, underwater by more than, the 125% allotted value before, then obviously, you can look into doing a HARP refinance, lower your rate. So let's say you had a 6.5% interest rate and you wanted to lower it down, but your house was, underwater by 135, 140%, you couldn't do it. So with this change in the program, you can. And obviously, there's some other things in there people can visit. All they have to do is Google HARP mortgage programs and kind of see some of the changes that are out there, which are helpful in keeping people from losing their homes into short sales. And another misnomer out there is that, do you have to be late to do a short sale? And the thing of it is if you don't ask, you don't get kissed. And I would tell people, don't be late to do the short sale. Try to get it through under the circumstances of, you have a true, hardship, and put that out there. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's guidelines are allowing those to go through. They just have to look at the overall, debt to income ratio of the file and, put those numbers together and look at your hardship. And we might be able to then in turn get that short sale done without any of those, lates on your credit report. And that frees you up to buy again, in a period of like 12 months. I mean, you're looking at, buying another property without having any, lates and short selling a property, in a year's time. That's a big plus. I mean, usually if you have a foreclosure or a short sale, the timeline can be 2 years to 5 years, to buy again, and in some circumstances even longer with conventional. So, it is a nice little change there. I mean, it's been around for a little bit, but a lot of agents, don't look at that side of it and, in how to advise your client in a property that's upside down. So those are some of the some of the ins and outs that are happening. Go ahead.
You know, I just wanted to go back to the HAMP and the HARP as far as the mortgage modifications go. And it's interesting that they finally wrote in the paper that they're not really going through. And again, here's one of my things, if only the public knew. Most mortgages are backed by the government. So as far as the mortgage company is concerned, if somebody loses a house, the mortgage company is usually reimbursed for any loss. Mm-hmm. So for them, if somebody's behind on a house or having problems, they look at it as, hey, maybe we should just get this person out. We'll get reimbursed and we could move on to somebody who can move in the house and make the payment on time and, you know, free us up. So it really isn't in their best interest to toil around with somebody and, you know, do the trial payments and exchange information. You know, all that takes employees, and employees cost money. And we know corporate America, they don't like to spend money. A lot of those kind of things get farmed out. So anybody out there, if you're trying a modification, couple things. First thing is to have some resiliency with yourself. Keep copies of what you send to the mortgage company. Keep sending it in. Most people, they send it 3-4 times, and then they end up getting approved. Or some people, when they're facing foreclosure, they file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and while they're in the bankruptcy, the modification usually goes through. And my opinion on that is the mortgage company says to themselves, gosh, now we're stuck with these people for 5 years in a Chapter 13 because there's nothing they can do if the Chapter 13 is running properly. So I think at that point they go ahead and put the modification through. But, you know, another point on this with the modifications, again, people, be careful out there who you call, who you get advice, who you get help from as far as modifications. There's a lot of companies out there holding themselves out as, quote, modification companies. They'll gladly take your money. They'll send in the paperwork just like you could have, and then they get a denial letter and say, oh, so sorry, you were denied, and they keep your money. And there's a lot of attorneys out there too doing the same thing. So you got to be really careful about that. And again, you know, call our office, get the information. It's okay if you don't hire us, but at least let us give you this information. And like Jimmy brought up the point about, you know, whether or not you have to be behind. And that's one of the interesting things about the HARP programs. It's different than the HAMP. The HAMP is more common for people having problems, but the HARP sometimes works for people who aren't having problems. And it's a great way to lower the interest rate, because I know a lot of people tell me, well, that's not fair because, you know, I pay my bills on time and I'm current and I can't get any help. With the HARP, you might be able to. And like Jimmy said, even if your property's upside down, like for most of us it is, that might be able to work out for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, and the best thing to do is just to Google, you know, like HARP 2.0, and you can get a lot of pertinent information online with that, and that'll be helpful. And with that said, you know, we're going to do this section here at the end of the show, and hopefully it takes off. It's kind of like Groupon for local businesses to be able to call in and offer something over our, you know, over the air. You get 30 seconds to talk about your company, who you are, what you do, and what kind of specials you might offer through us. So the number here is 800-923-9385. Give us a call, and we will be right back.
Thank you for the amazing job you've done in moving my first book forward in the publishing process.
Ludi Cotton Darnell's book, Ashley, Alex, and the Mystery Twins, was published with Zulon Press.
This is an exciting time for me.
Have you got a book for a Christian audience? Want to control the publishing process? Your free publishing guide is at ChristianPublishing.com.
I thank the Lord that Zulon Press has made it possible.
Visit Zulon Press for your free publishing guide at ChristianPublishing.com.
Half Price Heroes, here's the update. It's summer, and that means family fun. So start with African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. The kids get up close to camels, giraffes, white alligators, zebra, and much more. It's great family fun, usually about $131, now just under $66 for your whole family. That's right, the whole gang up to 6 people, all for $66, and that's half price, of course. If you're looking for professional help for your youngsters struggling with math, look no further than the recognized leaders in math help, Mathnasium. Usually $450 or so, now just $99 for 8 tutoring sessions from the leaders, Mathnasium. And yes, that's more than half off, but just 1 remaining. So hurry, be a hero for your family and a half-price hero for yourself. As usual, important restrictions apply, so carefully review each offer. But hurry, these great values will go fast at The Ideal theidealdepot.com. That's theidealdepot.com.
Across the Solutionist here. Overweight? So am I. Have you heard all this TV doctor buzz about Garcinia cambogia? This superfood extract can help suppress your appetite and reduce the risk of overeating. Reduce calorie intake by 25%, inhibit fat production while burning fat, all helping to reduce body weight. Even helps promote normal cholesterol and healthy serotonin levels. Not only that, it's also a great source of calcium. No wonder people are raving about it. We want you to try it. So here's the offer. Instead of paying over $120 online, we'll send you a 1-month supply for $29.99, which is already the best price out there. Then we won't send you a 1-month bottle, we'll send you 3 bottles, triple the offer, still only $29.99. You can't beat $10 a bottle. Call 1-888-877-0490. That's 1-888-877-0490. Or go to mycoolgadgets.com. That's mycoolgadgets.com. What do you have to lose? Oh yeah, your weight.
Hey, welcome back to the Oracles of Radio. And we were talking earlier throughout the show here with this new segment that we're trying to get built up, and that is the local business bump to get over the hump. So it's new and improved. I should say it's just new. But hey, if you're a local business out there, call in. You get 30 seconds to be on the air for free to talk about your company, what you do, how you do it, your phone number, where you're at. Offer something that's indigenous, that you're only offering on the radio here today. And, we're just helping local guys out there in the Tri-County area to, get off the ground at some of the, local vitamin shops or hair cutting places and so on and so forth, that are basically saying, it's tough to advertise. Well, it's a chance to advertise for free. So think about it as like a coupon or the Groupon, situation, and we're offering it on the radio here for free. So 30 seconds is a good stint of time to be able to kind of say what you do, how you do it, and why you're so great. But, segueing back into, Paul, what we were talking about, I know you had one more thing you wanted to follow up with the mortgage modifications.
Yeah, with the mortgage modifications, we're getting a lot of calls in our office about people saying, my sheriff sale has been postponed, my foreclosure sheriff sale.
Yeah.
Or my mortgage company tells me they'll postpone the sheriff sale. And for people out there, it's a real trap, in my opinion, because a lot of people, they're given this false sense of security, like they can just keep going on with their modification and the sheriff sale is not going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And most of the time what we see is that the sheriff sale does not get postponed. The mortgage company will say they will, but when it comes right down to it, the people are telling us that they're not getting through to anybody that's saying whether or not it's actually been postponed. And we always tell people, if somebody tells you, whether it's the mortgage company itself or if it's the law firm who represents the mortgage company in the foreclosure sale, get it in writing from them that the sale has been postponed and get the date of the new sale. Now, if you're not getting that from them, you should give us a call. Let us talk to you about it. And sometimes we can get through on the phone and, we'll get it in writing, or we'll just tell you flat out, hey, we think they're just, jollying you along here and that they're not going to postpone it for you. And in that case, the only way to stop that sale is by filing a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So it's really important, because if that sale date hits, that's it. You're on your own pretty much. You have no legal mechanism to turn back and get the house. Theoretically, the mortgage company could modify you, but they don't have to at that point. They pretty much are in the driver's seat, but something for people to be aware of out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. You, I know when you're working with Paul, you're hanging with Audie Murphy. I mean, Paul knows his onions, so helping you out through these murky waters, and with regards to all this housing debacle stuff, he's a good guy. He knows what he's doing. So my thoughts are, if you are looking to purchase a property and you want, my help in helping you with that, what we do is I offer to pay for this week. It's an offer out there to pay for your appraisal and up to the $400 mark. So if you are a buyer and I will then in turn reimburse you after the close of escrow for that. So not a bad gig. And that said, Paul, I know that there were some questions that we wanted to go over with the debt relief forgiveness program that that's coming to an end at sunset. And there's going to be a I guess we're in DEFCON 5 or 10, and we're getting close to the end. But, the Debt Relief Forgiveness Program is definitely something that people need to know about. And just before you answer that question, let me throw the number out here. Call in at 800-923-9385, 1-800-923-9385. And if you have, you want to call in as a company and kind of give an overview of our local business bump segment. But, Paul, what do you have to say about that Debt Relief Forgiveness Program?
That's another thing that people usually find out too late in the game, and then they're kind of jammed with their timeline as far as being what they're able to do. And the situation that happens is if you have a second mortgage and your house gets foreclosed on, and as a result of the foreclosure sale, the second mortgage company doesn't get any money out of the sale, you are responsible for that money. Now, some of the mortgage companies at that point will simply send you a 1099. And the theory behind that is you got that money was given to you, not as a loan because you didn't pay it back. So if you had a $20,000 second mortgage and they didn't get any money, you're getting a 1099 for $20,000. And the IRS treats it as though you made that money. But under the Debt Relief Forgiveness Program, as long as that's your residence, you don't have to pay the tax on that. Now, your tax preparer should know how to handle that. If they don't, you should change tax preparers. If you want to call us for a recommendation on somebody to send you to, or if you have any questions about it, feel free to give us a call, and we'll let you know how to take care of that situation. But we're really hoping that they extend this law, since so many people are still upside down on their houses. But they might not, and people need to be aware. And again, not pushing the bankruptcy option, but if you file a bankruptcy after you get foreclosed on with your home, that would discharge that debt, and you will not receive a 1099 on it. You will not have to pay taxes on it, because when you discharge a debt, it's like the debt never existed. So there's no income, and you don't have to worry about it on your taxes. Yeah, that's an important piece of information. I mean, it's something I hope that it doesn't sunset, and it does get extended in the administration that's in power right now, because it is it is a difficult situation. Like I said, it's like DEFCON 9. If there is a DEFCON 9, I don't know how far they go up in the DEFCONs, but that would be my thoughts. And some of the things that we talked about when you're out there, looking for a good real estate agent, and some of the things that you want to make sure when you're looking for that agent, it's nice when you get it referred to by somebody that this agent's great and they know what they're doing. Also, you want to look at their sales volume. How busy is this real estate agent? Are they busy enough to keep things, to work with me, or too busy to work with me? And you want to have a happy medium in there. Their experience in in all facets of buying homes, working with buyers and the seller side, obviously, those are all important. And the technology, you want to make sure that the agents are up on it. Some of the older agents are fantastic out there, and working with them is a true pleasure. And they sometimes have a hard time handling a higher volume of clients due to the ability of kind of it's all gumshoe and hands on. But if you do have an agent that is not so tech savvy, stick with them. That doesn't mean that they're a bad agent. It's just sometimes they don't handle that high volumes that some of the other agents can take on. And listening, make sure that agent listens to what you have to say. What type of house are you looking to buy, and you're not looking at houses that you're just not even interested in. Or, when you're listing your house, you think that your house is a great place, and just the pictures on the, the MLS through Real Comp and so on and so forth are not enough to justify, your house, and maybe you need a virtual tour. So some agents will do that, and some agents, don't see the need. They see selling a house is in the price. Well, not always, but that is a part of it. So I think pictures are important. When an agent does take pictures of your property, they have to be clear, crisp, and they have to make sure that they show off the right parts of the house. And you just got to make sure it's a good fit. Make sure that you feel comfortable with that agent. And if you do, stick with them. And if you don't, give us a call, and we'll help you out. My name is Jimmy Moss. I'm with Red Carpet Platinum. And the number that you can reach us to our office is 855-USA-1976. The number to the show is 800-923-9385. And our website is oraclesofradio.com. So you can also visit our website, and we'll then in turn give you a call, help you out with the details. And so, Paul, in doing law, what's the
what's the usually the charges that you would kind of put forth on a Chapter 7, bankruptcy for someone to do? I mean, what's usually where you fall in the fee wise?
It's interesting that you asked that because really the way we look at it is not necessarily what we charge, but a lot of times we look at what other people portray out there. And, somebody new to the game who doesn't know anything about filing a bankruptcy, there's a $300 court filing fee, which is a pretty substantial amount of money. And when you quote somebody a fee over the phone, a lot of places won't tell you about that fee. So they quote you a nice low fee. You make your appointment, you go in, you're all ready to go, and then they say, oh, well, you got this extra filing fee on there. When we give fees at our office, we tell you the out-the-door amount. And, the way I like to handle my business is the way I like to be treated when I'm out using a vendor or so forth or some kind of company. And the thing I like is just, to be straightforward, know exactly what's going on, exactly what I'm going to pay. I saw a coupon for brakes last week, $59 out the door, blah, 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 blah.
What a deal.
Yeah, somebody asked me about it, and I said, well, they usually are going to say you need new rotors, you need new this. And I said, $400 later, you'll get your car fixed. Sure enough, they went. And they came back and they said $460 is what it would take.
Oh, not the old switcheroo.
No, I can't stand that. So
keep it simple.
Yeah, when you call our office, you can ask questions. Anybody who answers the phone at our office, I always tell everybody, even like the secretaries, I'll say, my goal for you is to be able to answer any question that an attorney can answer. You should be able to do anything that an attorney can do except go to court. So that when somebody calls and they have a quick question, you can at least give them an answer. Sometimes people just need to hear some small thing to put them at ease a little bit. And we want to be able to do that for you. And we do that. We do that without charge. You can also email us. If you call our office, a lot of times I'm busy. They'll always say, email Paul, because I respond to all emails. It's on my phone. I get to it as quick as I can and respond to it. And it's all about, easing people's minds, relieving that anxiety. And, when somebody comes in for an appointment and they leave, I always wait to hear if they say it first. They always say, I feel a lot better.
Yeah, they're hanging with Audie Murphy, man. You're Audie Murphy. Come on, It's, between me, you, and the fence post, I know you got a good compass, a good moral compass. And I know you know what you're doing. And, your onions, your bananas, and, you kind of, you've gone through the hard times. So I think you've kind of alchemized, who you are and what you do and how you do it. I have no doubts about that, or I wouldn't be sitting next to you. I think you're fantastic at that. Our number to call us at our office is 855 USA 1976. That's 855 USA 1976. Our show here every Sunday from 2 to 3 is the Oracles of Radio. And with that, you can visit us at oraclesofradio.com. That's oraclesofradio.com. Or you can email us any questions, and basically it's questions at oraclesofradio.com. So, it's just important for us to try to put that out there. I know you're driving down the road and you're trying to think of all these different numbers. Just remember Oracles of Radio, and you can visit the website, and all the information is there. If you want to catch the show, we have it. We put it up on Facebook, and you can listen to that. And it's just we got a lot of knowledge and information. We're just trying to help out people in the local community with what we do and how we do it. And usually that's go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, visit our Facebook page.
Yeah, sure.
Like us on Facebook. We're on Twitter also. At Oracles of Radio. Follow us on Twitter. We try and give you as much information as we can. And if something's not out there for you, give us a call or shoot us an email.
Yep. And with that, we're up on the downstroke. We're up on a hard break. And we love you out there. And we'll talk with you guys soon next week. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Oracles of Radio, sponsored by Oracles of Radio, LLC, on the Patriot, 92.7 FM and 1400 AM. Hosted by Realtor Jimmy Moss and attorney Paul Gigliotti. For more information, visit oraclesofradio.com on the web. oraclesofradio.com.
It was summertime in northern Michigan.
Comments made on this show should not be construed as professional advice. Listeners should not take any action based on the advice given over the air. Listeners should only act upon advice given during a face-to-face consultation with a professional who knows all of the client's information and has reviewed all of the client's documentation.
Alex is 8 years old. Like most kids his age, he has hopes and dreams, but instead of hoping for a new video game or PlayStation, Alex hopes he gets to eat today.